How long does it take to produce an album? What's the average length of time that it should take to fully create one? Well, let's dive in today and discuss how long it should take you to fully produce an album and whether or not there's a good time you should be aiming for. Let's blast off and get started. JM in your universe. Konnichiwa friends, I'm Jonathan Miller and welcome back to Jonathan Miller Music, helping you become a better indie artist. I make futuristic and outer space inspired dance pop music, and every Wednesday on this channel I'm helping others take their music to level 2. If that sounds good, consider subscribing and ringing the notification bell. If not, well, I try to answer a lot of questions on this channel, but if you don't care, then I guess that's fine. You're just not allowed to ask any type of question ever again on the internet. So between you and me, I think it's worth subscribing. Think about that. Alright, so let's just jump in. Depending on your resources, your time, and your creative process, fully producing an album can take anywhere between 2 weeks and a few years. For example, Ariana Grande's Thank You Next and Beyonce's B-Day albums were both recorded in the span of 2 weeks. Now granted, they are major label, big name artists, so they have a little bit easier access to studio time and audio engineers and all that sort of stuff. And they don't have to worry about sending their songs to get mastered because somebody does that for them. But anyway, both those albums were huge hits, so an album produced in 2 weeks is just fine. I would say though that the average time to produce an album is probably about 6 months to a year, with a year being the most common practice. That may sound like a long time, but think about all that goes into an album. You've got to write the songs, you've got to pick the right arrangement, you've got to create an instrumental track with music that you can record vocals to, you got to book the studio sessions for recording instruments or vocals, then background vocals need to be added, especially for R&B and pop music, then the song has to be mixed and finalized, then it's got to go be mastered, and then you got to repeat the whole process again for about 10 or more songs for a complete album. This is why it can take a lot of time. However, luckily with email and advanced technologies, production times can be decreased. Do you live really close to the studio? Can you send things back and forth between you and your producer? It just depends on what's available to you. For me, I like to take time with my albums, mostly because I do all the writing, the producing, programming, audio engineering, mixing, all that sort of stuff myself, and it's not something I really recommend. But it grants me the creative freedom to make decisions about the whole project. I mean, not all of us can be Rihanna, who at one point in their career released a new album every single year. Although if I had a dedicated producer, I would probably consider that. So the length of time to produce an album really is up to you and your available resources. It could be 2 weeks, it could be a few years. The last time I released a full studio album was in 2016. Of course, a lot happened in that time, but that's neither here nor there. Basically, I recommend taking your time. I think that makes things more organic and it gives you time to grow. Just enjoy the process and try and make the best album that you can absolutely make. So that's about how long it takes to produce an album. Question of the video, how long did it take you to produce your last album? Leave me a comment below letting me know. If you want more indie artist tips and tricks, I've got plenty of videos for you on this channel and I've left some recommendations in the description. If you like me and you like what I do, consider following me on Spotify or joining me on Patreon for all sorts of fun rewards. But as always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it and subscribe if you're new. I put out new videos every single Wednesday. Once again, I'm Jonathan Miller and I will see you next time. See you later. I am a machine.